and it has been fascinating for me too, just in researching and finding out about these things, how there are common traits to these groups that we label as destructive cults. Because not all religions, I don't subscribe to the viewpoint that all religions are cults. No. Or are destructive cults. Right. And I don't think that they're all 100% harmful and it's all black and white. But there are certainly no shortage of these groups out there that you can label as destructive cults, and there are characteristics of them. Mm-hmm. What would you say, we don't have to go into a full review of everything, but what would you say are some of the characteristics or the things symptoms that make you go, yeah, something destructive cult here? What's your educated view on that now?
Okay, so now I know to look for these things that I'll be describing, not only in larger organizations, but even in one-on-one kinds of controlling relationships, because it doesn't matter the size of the group either to make it a cult or not. You can have 2 people. That's enough for a cult. What I noticed was that you had to have somebody who was really in charge. There was a power differential. Someone had all the answers, someone was in charge, and the other person was a follower, or the group were followers, and that they needed to follow in an unquestioning way, having unquestioning devotion to the leader, to the teachings. And even if the teachings changed, and suddenly whatever was okay on Monday was no longer okay on Tuesday, you had to be fine with that and just keep going along with it. The other part is the deception, that within cults, you're not told ahead of time what you're really signing up for and what kind of sacrifices you're going to be expected to make and what your life is really going to look like when you get involved, and all the people you're going to need to say goodbye to also when you get involved. And I think the other part that really is key for me too is that the rules that apply to the leader are very small, and usually those are ones that the leader will decide apply to him or her. All the other rules only apply to the followers. So the leader can live in any way he or she chooses and can live in a mansion when the followers are sleeping on the floor, and can have many sexual partners when the followers need to be celibate. I'm using these examples from things that I know. And can also eat certain foods, dress certain ways, don't have to answer to anyone, really. But the followers have to answer to the leaders at every turn. The other part, though, is that there is this feeling along the way that you really are never going to be done with this. That when you get involved in some sort of educational program or even join a church, you can go if you want to, if it's not feeding your soul, if it's not answering your questions, if it's not the program you thought it was going to be. But with a cult, you're never done. You're never, ever done.
That's so true. That's such a good point. Yeah, I can certainly relate to that in Scientology, because even though they have a bridge to total freedom that has, a top to it, they have this chart with all these services, all these levels that you go through. When you get to the top, they are not done with you.
Right.
Because there's always something else that you could be doing in Scientology. There's always some class you haven't done, always some service you haven't taken part in, or like Scientology is doing now, they put you on a hamster wheel where they put you back at the beginning practically, and you have to redo things over and over again. And you're like, why is this happening? And of course, that's what you just talked about is why it's happening, is because there is no end. The point of it is not to shoot you out the top, it's to keep you on a hamster wheel.
Right, exactly right. When you're involved in a cult, you don't make forward movement. You only make lateral movement. You only go in reverse, or you go in a circle. There's something very regressive about it for some people. parents will tell me, and I've seen it myself with kids who are not kids anymore, when they get involved in a cult, they start acting very much like they're teenagers again. They don't want to talk about it, and you don't understand, and getting kind of petulant about it. And there's something in the nature of cults that does that.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't understand that at all.
Right. Sorry. I know. I could be totally wrong.
Yeah. I cannot relate to that in any way. Yeah.
Right. But it is also true that the lateral moves happen a lot, where you take a class and you thought you were going to go one direction in your life, and then they say, in order to get there, you need to do this. And then you have to do that again, and then you have to keep going that way. Or then when you're done, you go that way and take another class and recruit more members or bring in more money for us, keep our machine well oiled, while you're forfeiting all of your dreams, all of what really you had in mind for your life. And that's a very difficult thing when people get involved in cults, because they think they are under this illusion that their life is better than it's ever been, and it has this forward momentum that it wouldn't have otherwise. It's actually quite the opposite.